These two guys have Minnesota sports flowing in their veins. Mackey and Judd on Score North and ScoreNorth.com.
Straight cash, homie.
Let's go, baby. Let's do it, baby. All right, let's
Straight
go get
cash, homie.
Welcome into a Feedback Friday on Mackey and Judd here, your daily fix of Minnesota sports, entertainment, speculation, therapy, whatever you need from us. And boys, we turn the show over to the audience every single Friday here, Feedback Friday, to answer their questions, concerns, critiques. If you got theories on life or Minnesota sports, you can always throw them at us through the Score North app. There's a feedback tab. It links directly to our emails. And we always monitor like the YouTube comment section, Twitter. Let's start right away here from DL Urbas. He says, Alex Mattison. One path to Mattison is that there's an extremely healthy free agent pool of running backs in 2023. I'm not saying this makes Alex Mattison stay, but if we can get him a bigger long-term deal and stretch the money out, it may be possible because, you know, maybe he wouldn't be like the first in line to sign with another team.
Mm-hmm.
So Alex Mattison is 24 years old. He'll be 25 in June. Fourth year in the league this year. He's a free agent. I guess I want to broaden this out to sort of like the Vikings running back room going forward. And we can answer the Mattison thing here too. How do you see it playing out going into 2023?
Well, my first question is Dalvin Cook gone? Like, I think he's probably going to be gone, but I'm not positive of that. And here's my thing with Mattison, who, by the way, I do like. Like, I don't think he's a star, but I think he's a very serviceable player. I feel like if the Vikings were going to bring him back, they would have given him far more of a chance this season. Like, he's not just a backup. He doesn't play that much. It feels like he doesn't play that much. And so there's going to be some team. I think the key to his future, and I think why he's probably gone, is this. He's not going to break the bank, but he's definitely going to sign with a team that promises an opportunity. And I don't think he's seen a thing from this coaching staff to think I'm a big part here.
Yeah.
Because like there is plenty of time for him to have played. Dalvin Cook does not need to have played probably as much as Cook has. So I see the running back room being Mattison gone. I would not bring Cook back. And so now you start with what's left there. Ty Chandler, who I think they definitely like, I think is going to get a chance. I also think, you know what? Go sign a veteran off the street. I will say, as far as Kwesi goes and O'Connell, but especially Kwesi, I'm done paying that position.
I agree.
I'm done paying.
Dude, they've been
that
paying
position.
that position for 15 years. It's not quite because Peterson's rookie scale didn't. But like starting in about 2009 or 2010.
It's a long time. Your point's right.
They've had some of the highest paid running backs in the league for over a decade.
Yeah.
In a league where someone put out that list a couple of years ago of Super Bowl champions and how much money their starting running back makes, and it was like none. And Alex Mattison, here's the thing. He has, and some of the inflated carry totals for him throughout the years have been because Dalvin misses a month with an injury or whatever. But this is the fewest touches he's had in a season in his NFL career. Unless he gets 31 touches against the Bears, he will wind up with the fewest touches he's had in his NFL career. So I'm with you. I don't know that they value him. He's a guy. Like he's a good, solid, reliable backup running back at the price. If all of a sudden we're talking about more money for a guy that's going to be fifth, sixth year in the league, 26 years old, 27 years old,
yes,
I think it was a good 4-year run. This is the mistake the Vikings have run into historically with running backs. And I get that you had to sign Peterson during that era. You had to. He was a Hall of Famer. Mm-hmm. And Dalvin, I get it too, but you can find dudes in the second, third rounds. You can find running backs in the fifth round. You ride them for 4 years at a low rate while you pay other positions. On Dalvin, if they were to trade him, so he has 3 years left on his contract. He's going to be 28 years old. He'll be 28 years old.
TikTok.
Yep. So he has 3 years left on his deal, but there's no more guaranteed money left.
Yeah.
So it gets very, very flexible here. He's either in line for a restructure, or if you were to trade him before June 1st or before the league year, hits in March, you'd still be on the hook for $6 million in cap hit, but you would save 8. So it might be worth it for the Vikings to explore, or if you cut him, it's the same way too. I think somebody would give you like a 5th or a 6th round pick or something, 4th, 5th, 6th round pick for him, someone with some cap space. And then, they're just looking for like the final piece to their offensive puzzle. But yeah, I think there's a really good chance that Dalvin and Alex Mattison are both not on the team in 2023. And it's like Ty Chandler, Kene Nwangwu as like a 3rd running back, and then you go bring a veteran in for a couple $1 million.
I don't want to loop him in with this, but next season, so Dalvin Cook is on as a cap hit of $14 million. Adam Thielen has a cap hit of $19 million. That is $30+ million to 2 dudes who are, let's be honest, on the decline. Thielen sharper than Dalvin, but over the hill, essentially, in today's NFL. They're young men in the world, but they're over the hill in the NFL age. Yeah. I would be shocked if both those guys are brought back with a $33 million combined cap hit. One of them has to go.
And that's like 15% of your overall salary cap to those 2 sort of aging, declining skill position guys.
Well, and because Kwesi obviously agreed with the Wilfs to bring guys back, the other question here, basically starting in 2023, but going forward is going to be this. What's going to be their positional value rankings? Because like the Thielen contract is ridiculous right now. Like it looks really, really bad. But I think they will continue to invest in wide receiver 2. I think longtime fans of the Vikings will be shocked eventually by how small the investment is from a cap standpoint in running back. So like, what do you value? Running back, I would say they want a decent one, a good one, but they're not going to pay that spot. Linebackers, probably not. Hicks is probably the type of guy, aside from guys they draft, that they're going to run through here. And there's going to be a different Jordan Hicks on a year-by-year basis, or they're going to solve that through the draft. But I think we're going to see a major transformation here, probably a little bit slow but sure, of a very different pay structure from what Spielman had to what Kwesi will have.
Well, how about this? So this is from Over the Cap too. The Vikings are top 5 spenders in the NFL at running back, linebacker, and safety.
Yeah, that's going to change.
Those are probably the 3 positions, and maybe guard, where you would want to spend not like nothing, because you can't just have crappy players laying around. So it's not that simple, but that's just a sort of an out of whack way to be allocating your finances, right? You want to make sure, quarterback, you got to be careful overpaying for a non-elite quarterback. And I think we've had that discussion a couple times or two on the show. I think wide receivers are a position that I'm totally willing to pay for Justin Jefferson going forward. Offensive line, defensive line, cornerback. But once you get into like linebacker, safety, and running back being the positions where you are top 5 highest paid, that's got to be course corrected, I think. So
that could basically begin to clear itself up immediately, right? I mean, if Cook is gone, I think Kendricks is gone for sure, because Kendricks is the guy at linebacker who gets paid. And when Harrison's gone, safety comes way down. Yeah. Now, I think Harrison Smith's back, but I think Kendricks is gone, and I think there's a fighting chance Cook's gone. So, like, you can actually correct at least 2 of those 3 very quickly.
Yeah. Matt Hansen says here via the Score North app, what are your thoughts on next year's NFC North? I know it's a long ways away, but I remember a few months ago we felt like Green Bay was in decline. The Bears were bad. Lions were the Lions. Now it feels like all those teams are on the rise, and the Vikings will continue to run it back and hope to get lucky, like a poker player who keeps winning on the river with pocket 8s. Well, I don't know that the Packers are on the rise. I think the Packers just sort of like found themselves a little bit.
Yeah.
But they're going to go through the whole Rodgers dance again. They're going to get older. At some point, the Packers are definitely in for a major decline, like a 5-year sort of figured out period. I don't know what to do with them if Rodgers comes. If Rodgers comes back, they're going to be formidable, but he'll be another year older. The Bears have the most cap space of any team in the NFL. Justin Fields took a huge step forward. So if they add some key pieces in free agency, they're going to have another high draft pick, right? The Bears, I could see the Bears being really competitive really fast if they do the right things between March and May. The Lions, it's hard because how sustainable is the Dan Campbell, Jared Goff combination? How much do you trust those two guys? It's a pretty good roster.
It's a pretty good roster, but I don't know if Campbell's the right guy. I'm pretty convinced that he will do something Sunday night to sabotage them by accident. The Bears one to me is super intriguing because I mean Ryan Poles is the guy that the Vikings originally wanted and couldn't come to an agreement with, and he went to Chicago and enacted this plan to strip things down, which I actually love. The Vikings, though, so as far as the point about the Vikings running things back, there's only so much time that they can continue to do that too. Like that's just going to naturally end. Yeah. And so that becomes like the transformation or transition here. I don't know the Vikings have to be forced to go into a rebuild. I think that's probably too strong. But, this whole thing of bring Dalvin back, bring Thielen back, bring Harrison Smith back, to a certain point, probably Cousins as well. That's going to end within the next couple of years. And so the running things back is going to end. And I think the question then is, what do Kwesi and O'Connell do? And, of course, you know what this comes back to, gentlemen? This comes back to, can you find a quarterback? Can you identify a quarterback?
Yeah.
If you do that, it's a game changer.
It's kind of amazing because that is with Kirk Cousins being tied for the all-time single-season fourth-quarter comeback record and Kirko chains and everything this year, the future of the Vikings quarterback position conversation has kind of halted. But again, he's going into another lame duck contract year, right? He's got one more year left on his deal. He's going to be 35 years old. It's definitely not something that's back burner internally with the Vikings.
Yes.
And it was a discussion a year ago. There was a lot of buzz about Colts conversation with the Panthers, and ultimately it feels like the Wolves came in and said, let's not go crazy here. Let's try and run this thing back and see what happens. Let's see here. Tim Hoover says, how can the Vikings hope to address their horrible defense and O-line depth issues with only 4 draft picks this year?
Well,
that is a thing, man. They don't
that's
have many
definitely
draft
a thing. They will get more. In fact, you know what? They'll probably bail back down in the first round again to get more picks, which I don't really love, but I could see that. Kwesi definitely is going to want to accumulate picks. Now, I don't think he's Spielman, which would have been like, oh my God, I got 4 draft picks. I have to turn 4 into 12.
What would Dalvin get you?
I think at the most a 4th or a 3rd.
I was going to say
maybe.
Dude, if you could get a 3rd for Dalvin,
take it and run.
I bet Dex a 4th now. Like at his age, like he's 28. He's turning 28.
You get a 3rd and you save $8 million to the cap.
If you get a 3rd, I would take it and run. I bet they would start with. I bet a team would start with a 4th or a 5th. But you've got to accumulate some picks. And you know what, too, guys? The one thing we don't know, we got no clue, and we don't know yet. As far as the drafting goes, how is Kwesi going to be? And like this staff, this draft does not look particularly solid, but I am more, as we've discussed numerous times, I'll give this time, which I think is very fair. But that's going to become a huge decider in this entire administration. And again, I'll go back to it. The biggest thing is this: can you identify a quarterback? Because this team for years hasn't.
I don't know that this is the year that it'll be so interesting because we don't know. We don't know. You didn't think the Chiefs were going to do it, 5 years ago. That fan base was floored when they traded up 17 spots for Patrick Mahomes.
Yeah. You can only kick the can down the road X amount of times. Yeah. That's why this year is now turned into a sort of a weird year because yes, it's been fortuitous and you've won a bunch of games and your score differential is a minus, which is really bad. But all of that being said, you also can't just like punt on a 12-13 win year and call it, well, I mean, the regular season was great, right? Like there's a window of opportunity here that to the Vikings credit, they sort of foresaw. But if it ends with a first round loss, that's a tough pill to swallow because now do you say again, okay, let's try it again in 24. We've all seen this. Eventually that philosophy bites you in the ass.
Yeah. Next one here, I saw this just floating around Twitter this week. You get 5 championships to divide among Minnesota sports teams. Oh, yeah. What's your allocation? Let's say it's 5 championships over the next, some window of time, next 5 or 10 years or whatever.
Let's call it 10 years.
Okay. Over the next 10 years, you get 5 titles to divide up among Minnesota sports teams. How do you allocate those titles?
And we're talking about the teams that we talk about the most.
Well, you can do whatever you want.
Yeah.
You want to give 5 titles to? You want to give Cheryl Reeve her 9th championship?
She doesn't have enough titles. She's done really well. I give one to the Twins. I give a Super Bowl to the Vikings, Stanley Cup, an LOB to the Wolves, and then I give the second one. I have the Vikings win a second Super Bowl.
So you give 1 to each of the 4 teams, but 2 to the Vikings.
Yep.
See, I don't think the Twins deserve it.
I'm so conflicted with the Twins.
I'm not going to give the Twins. They already have 2, and they have reunions every 3 months basically.
They've got 2, but Declan was not born for either, and you were like 5 or 6.
They do not deserve to be rewarded.
Wouldn't you like to see a World Series parade for fun?
I would say up until about 18 months to 2 years ago, I would have said it's the team I want to see the most win a championship because I've never seen it before in my life. And now I am so sour on them. I want nothing to do with them winning a championship right now.
Oh my God, dude.
I don't want to see my toxic ex succeed. That's where I'm at right now. And the Twins are a toxic ex.
You'll never work for Bally's. You'll never work for Bally's. It's simple for me.
So
I want to see 4 parades for the different teams and then a second Super Bowl parade.
I would probably go 2 to the Wild. I'd love to see the Wild win a couple cups.
Yeah, dynasty. Huh?
I go 2 for the Vikings, and I go 1 for the Wolves. The Wolves, it's the team that I've always been far removed from, but I do know how awesome it would be, and I'm seeing it right now of how much people care about basketball in this town, and this state deserves to see a good NBA team. So I would go 2 Wild, 2 Vikings, 1 Wolves, 0 for the Twins.
Oh my God! So 0 for the Twins. Sorry, you already have 2 of them. Just get to the back of the line,
and then we can start.
You guys are so petty right now.
If they win a playoff game at some point, then they can be in the discussion for one of these hypothetical 5 championships that we're allocating. All right, I'm definitely giving an LOB to the Wolves.
For sure.
Not that they deserve it either, but
I was going to say.
But I have a soft spot for the Timberwolves, and it doesn't have to be anything other than like when the Raptors popped up and beat an injured Warriors team, or the Bucks kind of came out of nowhere and won the title. That's all it has to be. Just a one-off. Just go be the Raptors. Just a one-off thing. And
although you're right, Phil, it's a little bit hypocritical to punish the Twins and then not punish the Wolves.
I feel like the Wolves operate in good faith. Like they try and they fail. I don't think the Twins operate in good faith as a franchise always with the fans. They have this sort of arrogance. They're very aloof, and we're the little engine that could. It's like, no, you're not. You have an amazing stadium. You're like a middle market team that continues to scrap heap free agents. Correa fell into your lap, and they sort of like mock anyone that suggests that they don't know what they're doing. Hi, Vinny.
Vinny has some takes on this, I think, too.
Look at Vinny.
Oh, he's licking the microphone.
What a good boy.
He wants to go.
He's gonna poop on Dad's lap.
I know. He wants to go frolic in the snow. Is what he wants to do. This dude's a humongous snow dog. All he wants to do. Play
come to my
snow.
backyard. Come to my backyard. My backyard's right here. You can go out there and run around the snow.
Uncle Judd. So I'm gonna go 1 to the Wolves. I think the Wild, they'll get one at some point on their own. I'm going 4 to the Vikings. I want a dynasty.
You're not going to give us a Stanley Cup?
I am turning the Vikings into a 4 championships in 10 years dynasty. The next New England Patriots. Right
Who's quarterback?
Here. Kirk's going to get 1.
Okay.
I'm going to give 1 to Kirk. And then the next 3 are going to be the quarterback that they draft to replace Kirk. And that will be a top 5 quarterback. They will have like a Josh Allen or a Patrick Mahomes. They will get lucky. They will trade up and they will get lucky. That's
maybe a Tom Brady situation where Kirk gets injured like week 5, and then this rookie QB comes in and just leads us to multiple championships. Huh?
Could be that too.
If Kirk got a Super Bowl, if he got a Lombardi, does 8 go in the rafters?
Yes.
Yep.
Absolutely.
100%.
And it should.
If
he's the starting quarterback for the first ever Super Bowl championship Vikings team, I mean, he would be Jack Morris for the Twins, whose number is not retired, right? They did not retire Jack's.
No.
But if he had also put up like top 3 numbers at his position over the course of 5 or 6 years.
They built Nick Foles a statue in Philadelphia. I think
For
Kirk.
Didn't they
Philly.
regret that a little bit now based on like
It was
what
a
he
Philly
did last
special,
week?
But that's the play call. Like that's the play
Nick
call too,
Foles.
right? But I think it was based on the play call, so it's sort of cool.
Nick Foles, man, he's with the Colts, where he started 2 games for Jeff
He just
Saturday.
got hurt.
And
He just got hurt. It was terrible. Didn't you guys see
That's
that on Sunday?
And then,
He's laying
and
there
then
sort
Kayvon
of
Thibodeau did the
convulsing.
snow
and
angel next to him.
He's doing snow angel next to him. It was
And then Jeff
brutal.
Saturday called him out for being a clown, basically. And Kayvon Thibodeau came back and said, I don't even know who Jeff Saturday is. Oh, sick burn guy. Oh, man. All right. So, yeah, let us know in the YouTube comment section or Twitter, who would you allocate 5 championships